In Lord and Miller, we trust. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Project Hail Mary, the newest film from directors Chris Miller and Phil Lord. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally here. We're finally talking about one of my most anticipated movies of 2026, actually number 2 on my list. This movie is an adaptation of Andy Weir's novel about a guy named Ryland Grace, who, against his wishes, is transported on a thing called the Project Hail Mary to go to Tal Ceti to basically find out why this life form is eviscerating the planets in the solar system. That, of course, life form is called astrophage, and they also use it to rocket power stuff like spaceships. And so along the way at Tal Ceti, he meets a character named Rocky, who is an alien, and it's basically a story about how different entities from different worlds are trying to uncover the same issue, which is what is eating the life forms and what is eating the sun. And it becomes a friendship tale. It becomes a tale of hope. It becomes a tale of, of what it's like for different individuals to work together. And it is also a Lord and Miller movie, so there is a lot of humor in it. But it basically is about one character named Ryland Grace. It also has Sandra Hüller in it as one of the main characters. And it basically is just a tale of hope, just a tale of finding our place in the world, even if we are not wanting to do it, because we are afraid to go to our deaths. So that's what Project Hail Mary is. It's very similar to The Martian. It's about survival in a world that is falling apart. So there you go. So I read Project Hail Mary back in like July of 2025 or something like that, somewhere around there between July and September. So I know the book pretty well. I know the ins and outs of it. I know the story and how it plays out. So what I was expecting going in was to have a pretty faithful adaptation that's similar to what The Martian did, which I actually read after the fact. But once again, I went into this movie knowing quite a bit about this book. And Andy Weir's a pretty competent writer. His science is fun to read, and he's very engaging with his storytelling elements. So putting Ryan Gosling as Ryland Grace and Sandra Hüller and Ken Leung and stuff like that, and Milana Vayntrub and whatnot as the main characters, I was expecting good things. And once again, Lord and Miller are some of the most competent directors working today. They know how to blend comedy, they know how to blend action and fun and entertainment value. With this movie, you could kind of tell that Disney really messed up with taking him off Solo, because with my honest review of this movie, that's exactly what Solo needed, is what this movie's providing, which is entertainment, which is fun, which is humor, which is heart, and which is a great storytelling movie with the help of screenwriter, of course, Drew Goddard, who also wrote The Martian. But this is one of my favorite movies of the year, to be fairly honest, because is not only faithful to the book, but also spins the story well enough that it can excise material, which is very important to the story, which includes, things that, especially the Earth stuff, which is actually quite condensed in this movie for a 2.5 hour movie. But for the most part, it does a pretty faithful job of the Rocky and Ryland Grace stuff, which is the kind of heart and story center of this book that, of course, Andy Weir has written. And so therefore, it's a really, really good adaptation that gives, once again, Ryan Gosling a very strong character motivation and arc to a actor that is very good at what he does, which is be very comedic, but also be very heartfelt when he needs to be. I mean, you saw that in Barbie. You've seen that in, of course, Half Nelson. It's just the guy's very competent, very good at what he does when it comes to a particular safe mode that he's in, which is given that heart and comedy at the same time. And then you have the kind of juxtaposition of having Lord and Miller, which are very good at blending that, very humorous tone that, especially that this movie has, and blending that, very dramatic stuff that they have to add in there, as part of the, he's the last living survivor of this mission, and he has to, if you read the book, you kind of know this, but he has to kind of find a way through all these trials and tribulations. And with the help in this character, Rocky, who's brilliantly voiced by James Ortiz, it works on so many levels. This movie is just such a delightful, entertaining, thrilling movie to watch. Greg Fraser, who of course is known for doing Dune, and the Batman, is coming in to do the cinematography and the look and feel of this movie, and it's absolutely beautiful. There are shots. This is why I recommend go seeing this IMAX, because there are shots in this movie that are awe-inspiring. I'm assuming that either ILM or Weta did the visual effects, and it's some of the most gorgeous visual effects you'll see in a long time. And the fact that they used IMAX cameras to expand the scope of this movie. There's a point where Ryland Grace is like in the middle of the screen right here, and the Tau Ceti, or at least the planet that they're focused on, is in the foreground, and it's such a beautiful shot. It's so many gorgeous shots in this movie that I think that this movie should automatically win the best cinematography and best visual effects, the best looking film of 2026. I mean, I'm sure there's other films that are going to be just as gorgeous, but I think this is the front runner for those, at least those two specific Oscars when it comes to 2027. Once again, it's hard to balance humor as well as dramatic material and make it work. And that's what, once again, that's what Lord and Miller are so capable of doing. That's why Solo seemed much more interesting and much more entertaining. As much as I love Ron Howard, seemed much more entertaining, much more competent in their hands, because they would have had that great comedic value that they bring to the table, which you saw in, the Spider-Man, the animated Spider-Man movies, the Lego movies, the 21 Jump Street movies, and you added that into a Star Wars movie, and it really works. And unfortunately, they were taken off of it, which is a shame. But this is as close as you're going to get to a spacefaring movie of the ilk of Lord and Miller. And once again, they've put together just an absolutely breathtaking movie with an absolutely breathtaking story. And with the help of Drew Goddard, that once again is a very talented writer, it is a winner. It's a winner of a movie. It has great moments between Rocky and Ryland. It has great, like the Rocky character, a lot of it was puppetry, and you could tell. But I love the stuff they added into this movie. The big virtual screen, you see this in the trailer, the virtual screen stuff is not in the book. And, a lot of small bits and pieces that they kind of twisted and turned a little bit to make it kind of focus more on the characters. So the thing that gets lost in translation and lost on, in adaptation is stuff that is more just the focus on the mindset of the individuals. So it does lose stuff there. And there's like big portions of the Earth stuff. And there's a lot more forcefulness of Ava Strode's character in the book than there is in the movie. She seems more relatable, much more earnest in the movie than she does in the book, because she's very much under scrutiny for what she's doing. And in the movie, it's much more just kind of, she's just a leadership character. They keep some of the forceful nature of what she does, but for the most part, she is much more, you can be much more relatable with what she's having to deal with, and what Ryland Grace has to go through, from the fact that he's a teacher to the point where he is stuck on this mission. There is a humanity there that is brought way over with the book. Well, once again, there's big portions of the story on Earth that are excised but don't feel like they're out of place or missing. And if you never read the book, you're not going to miss it anyways. But I think the people who've read the book will notice it pretty well, that there are stuff missing. But this is just a fantastic movie. I'm going to leave it there. It's a well shot, well produced, well directed. It gives, once again, more credence to Lord and Miller for being some of the best directors working today. And you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll feel hope, you'll feel love. And in this day and age, it's just, that's what we need. So it's definitely a crowd pleaser. It's a popcorn movie. It's a thought-provoking movie, and it has great moments of just the dynamic between Rocky and Ryland, some of the best you'll see this year. And it's a perfect vehicle for Ryan Gosling, who has to do most of the heavy lifting in this movie. And once again, great acting in this movie, great direction, and just overall great story. So I love it. One of my favorite movies of the 2026. So there you go. Anyways, with that said, that would be my take on Project Hail Mary. In the comments below, if you read the book, let me know what you think of the book. Are you looking forward to the movie? If you've seen the movie, let me know what you think of the movie as well, because of course, my review comes out way before everybody gets to see this movie. So just let me know what you think of the book. Are you excited to see the movie? Let me know why. Otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell. Top of the fun's coming in next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.